October meeting, JTech. And we really thank John Carlos for making arrangements to make this a successful meeting. So we are looking forward to our speaker of the day and all of the great conversation that I know we're going to have. And so at this time, I'd like to ask Crystal, if she's on the call, to go ahead and go over our minutes and have those approved. And so, Crystal, good morning, and I'll turn the floor over to you.
Good morning, everyone. Hopefully everyone got the meeting minutes. I apologize for sending the wrong agenda on that first email, but for our September meeting, we had Michelin as the sponsor, and Yassine introduced Stephen Jaris, who kind of went through what Michelin is doing and their diversifying into things other than tires. And so I think they're really talked about a lot of potential for some new suppliers there. So he talked a lot about the great things they're doing with their supplier base and trying to diversify. And our MBE spotlight was Chris Banks with Legacy Wealth Management. And I think he had some great explanations for doing business valuations, and hopefully everyone could see the benefits of doing that after he went through and explained all of that to us. And then we had our CVM SDC updates. It talked about BOC and what a great event that was, and then the upcoming MBE Summit, and matchmaking opportunities, and then the open position that was at CVM SDC. Let's see, what else? And then Jerry talked about the BMW event that was the next day. So that was a great event for all of those who were able to go. The Men of Color Summit is coming up, and also the MBE Summit. So both of those will be in November. And then we adjourned at 11:56. So if there are no questions or corrections, do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
Make a motion.
Okay, and Chef Maria, you're seconding that. And who was that made the motion?
John Carlos.
Okay, thank you, John. All right, I will turn it back over to Jerry. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Crystal, as always, for taking really good minutes and chronicling all the things that we discussed in our previous meeting. So at this time, and I'll just mention this really quickly because I don't know, I may forget before we get too much further. In the minutes, it mentioned that our Men of Color Summit was going to take place in November. And since our meeting, we've made a decision to not have the Men of Color Summit in November, but we had already had the summit scheduled for April in 2022. And so we decided to just move that program to the April summit, which will be, hopefully, got our fingers crossed, in person. And so again, given everything that's going on with the pandemic, we just didn't feel that it was appropriate. And we've all, kind of made that decision, even with the MBE Summit, that it would be better to go virtual. And so Clemson made that decision. So I just wanted to, kind of put that out there just in case I didn't have an opportunity to share that later. All right, going back to our agenda, again, we're proud and happy to have as our host JTech North America Corporation. John Carlos is, of course, a member of our ring and was gracious enough to provide a speaker for us that we're really excited about. And so before I turn it over to John Carlos, I'd just like to say that I was able to have a really good conversation with our speaker, Paul Dygert. I know that we're in for a treat, and I know that a lot of the information that he's gonna share, and the conversation that hopefully we'll have afterwards will be a benefit, because we always try to find speakers to speak to our ring and provide value to not only our corporates but also to our MBEs. And so without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to John. John, if you would provide an introduction for our speaker for the day.
Thanks, Jerry. I'm the supplier diversity champion for JTech. It's my pleasure to introduce Paul Digert. He's in charge of purchasing. He just got a promotion yesterday.
Wow.
He's executive. I think your title now executive director of purchasing. Reports directly to the COO. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Paul. He's got a good presentation, and hopefully y'all come away with better knowledge of what JTech does for supplier diversity.
Very good. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I already caught myself saying y'all. So I'm from Michigan. I've been here for about a year, so I'm new to the area. Actually, I'm new. I've been in JTech for a year. It's almost been a year in October. My background, I thought I'd just share with you a little bit. My background is all automotive, about 25 years in automotive. Most of that with Ford Motor Company. I spent 22 years in Ford Motor Company, all in purchasing. I spent another year with another Japanese tier 1 supplier who makes wire harnesses called Yazaki, and then recently moved my family down here to the Greenville area in South Carolina, where JTech is located. So thank you for having me. I just a little more from a minority perspective. One of my stints at in Ford Motor Company was I was the director of interior for all North American, actually global applications for interior. And we had a tremendous amount of, I'll say, task to grow the minority space at Ford Motor Company when I was there. And we got pretty creative with how to do so. So, for example, when I was there, we created 2 new joint ventures with a minority company and one of our major tier 1 automotives. In one case, it was with Faurecia and Andrea Rush to make a company called DMS, Detroit Manufacturing Systems. And the other one that I was involved in creating was a company that involved from HVAC perspective with Valio and a gentleman by the name of Vinnie Johnson, who owns Piston Automotive. You may or may not have heard of. So I've had a lot of experience with that kind of space and how to work with and grow the minority, at least in my experience at Ford Motor Company. So. Can we go to the next slide, please? Okay, so from a JTech perspective, we do have a policy in place, and I won't necessarily read through this, but it is important. We do want to, grow a supply base to foster, an inclusive environment that, is representative, quite frankly, of our customers. So I think you've seen these types of policies in place. We do have one in place. We want to share that with you. So next slide, please. So why do we partner? What are the key, and again, kind of motherhood and apple pie perspective here with the right thing to do from a corporate citizenship perspective. It also helps us with innovation and increase market share as we have different points of view that come into our space. So we do have a goal to diversity spend, and the goal that ours mirrors basically what our OEs mirror, which is typically somewhere in the neighborhood 8-10% of the total spend is minority. So next slide. So this really is the activity that John Carlos, as his job within JTech, is to help us lead this activity. So he acts as a portal in terms of being a gatekeeper, so that we can, make sure that we're having the right discussions with our potential suppliers going forward. He actually goes through and makes sure that we vet it, and then he actually participates. I'm sure you're all aware of in the events with the local chapter. Next slide. So here is our spend. We talked about the objective being 8-10%, and you can see from there was a lot of great history here from 2012 that, there's been a lot of great history to get to a point where we are today. But my observation coming on new, kind of a fresh eyes look, was in reality, we've pretty much plateaued for the last 7 years. It's not a place I like to be, to kind of not make much progress in the last 7 years. And so next slide, please. That's one of the discussions I want to have with you in terms of ideas you have to help us to get to that objective as we go 8 to 10%. So next. So some of the challenges you saw at one point, we were at an 8.2% level, and that was because we identified a supplier to help us that unfortunately didn't deliver to our expectations. And as you all know, in this environment, it's getting increasingly more competitive. Need to make sure that the suppliers we choose are competitive with cost, quality, and delivery, and can meet the expectations of our needs. So in that particular case, the reason you saw us spike up 8.2% and back down was because we had some issues with suppliers that we worked to source and launched and couldn't meet our needs. So it's an issue that we continue to work together to make sure that there's a clear understanding of what our expectations are and that the supplier can in fact can meet those needs. Specifically with regards to what's going on, so JTech, you may or may not know, is actually a Toyota-owned company. We do business with a lot more than Toyota. We've pretty much every OEM in North America we do business with, but we are a Toyota-owned company. Our headquarters is in Japan, and so it was typical with a lot of Japanese companies. They, JTech likes to partner with Japanese companies, whether they be transplants, and quite frankly, we have quite a bit of our product coming from overseas, from Japan or the Asia Pacific region. One of the spaces that I'm sure you're all aware of, at least in automotive, is there's more and more push to have more localization from our customers' perspective to meet the requirements of government around USMCA. And so based on not only that, our customer requirements, but also based on the environment that we've all seen over the last, year to 2 years with the challenges of having a extra long supply chain. There's risks associated with that, and we've been dealing with that. It's been a really very difficult year for JTech. Between some of the issues you've probably seen in the news, or you and your business may be dealing with regards to West Coast port delays. Air freight and logistics costs have gone through the roof, and just the overall issues of having a long supply chain, the risk that drives when the volumes have been and demand has been so strong. So it's a big issue, it's a big push, and so I've got an opportunity that I maybe haven't had in the past, given those challenges, to do more localization, to bring more local. And by local, it could be here in U.S., Canada, or Mexico, versus overseas, which is where we have a lot of our components coming from today. And then from an internal alignment perspective across the organization. So we have historically, JTech has grown up and has been multiple companies over the years. There's a long history here at JTech that we've only been JTech since. Boy, John Carlos, do you know? I don't know if I know the history. 2012, 2011, sometime in that time frame?
Yeah, about 2010, I think, was when we formed JTech.
So we were historically have been in a lot of different companies through the years. Koyo Bearing was formerly, part of it was formerly Timken. We had been not Worthington. I'm drawing a blank. Who was the bearing supplier here locally? John? Not Worthington, but
GKN
yeah.
is local, and there's a few others.
Torrington
Torrington
was the word I was looking for. Sorry. I'm still learning the organization. So Torrington. And at one point, our steering division was TRW. So we've been, I'll say, brought together a bunch of different businesses that have different processes and different plants around the United States. And we're still, even though we've been one JTech since 2010, we're still in a process of trying to better coordinate and align centrally. as we go forward. And actually, the purchasing organization, from a central perspective, is a fairly new initiative within JTEC. They centralized the purchasing organization really just about 3-4 years ago. So it's still an evolution as we go through and trying to manage. So next slide, please. So specifically, what are our needs? These are the types of commodities that we are currently buying overseas. So we're buying forgings, machinings, fine blanking, and fasteners. These are all things that we have an interest in finding local suppliers. And if the local supplier is minority, all the better. And we're interested to talk to you. The other space that we have an interest in is travel. So these are some areas that we've identified as commodities that we'd be interested in considering to localize, and therefore working with new suppliers in this space. Next slide. So from a best practice perspective, I think this is taken, John Carlos, if I'm not mistaken, this is taken right from the Toyota best practices. Is that right? Yeah. Try to mirror these, and this is one of the things that we're working on and trying to continue to do. We talked about having a policy, we talked about having a program. So some of these things we think we're doing very well. These are identified as kind of the basic blocking and tackling of how to manage the best practices, how to work for it. So we think these things we're doing. Next slide. And here are some of the areas that we're looking to improve in. We talked a little bit about that internal support to make sure that, across all plants, we have an understanding and alignment. One of the issues we need to work on is right now it's not very easy for a new supplier to contact us. And so we're trying to figure out how to make that very simple. And I think we're going to get something in place here fairly soon. And then from an external support, as we go forward and attending these types of events going forward. So those are the types of things that John Carlos is helping us to improve. Next slide, please. So, I guess really what I really want to do is kind of share with you a little bit about JTEC, a little bit about our evolution, a little bit about where we are, which is hopefully I gave you that sense. But what I really wanted to do is kind of get this team's feedback on, how do we address this issue of, we plateaued for the last 7 years. How can we grow that to 10%? And any suggestions on best practices out there that have been helpful, that you've seen helpful, or maybe in your experiences in dealing with JTEC that you'd like to see us do differently. So that's really what I talked to Jerry ahead of time, and I said, look, I'm new to the organization. I don't know any of the folks here, new to the area, and new to JTEC, and so I kind of have an open mind to listen to. How we can improve as an organization and collectively work with this chapter to do good for both JTEC as well as the chapter. So I'll leave it there. I think, was that my last slide, John Carlos? I think it was, wasn't it? Yeah. Okay. Oh. So there's me, and then so John Carlos is online as well. He's our diversity lead, and then the one person who couldn't make it today actually reports to me. He is the lead for this program, but he's also my indirect purchasing manager. So anything that doesn't go into our components that go into vehicles, he is responsible for buying. So Patrick is unfortunately couldn't visit today, but he's one of the big key leaders that help us support. So with that, I'll open it to questions or comments.
Well, first of all, just let me say, thank you, Paul and John, for the presentation. I think it was very informative. And as you mentioned, part of our conversation was around, how can we as a council, help, because that's part of what we do, is part of why we are involved in this organization. And certainly, the council, can certainly help with regards to, providing, opportunities and information on how we can improve. And I would just say, just personally, I've benefited greatly from many of the corporates, on the call today with regards to some of the things that they were doing that we were able to, adopt, at Clemson. And so I'm hopeful that, several on the call, will respond in some way with, some support with regards to, how that they may offer some expertise to, some of the things that you've shared this morning. So we're opening it up for any questions that you might have for Paul.
Paul, this is Carla White. I'm the MBET chair with the council, but I'm an MBE. And first, I want to say kudos, congratulations, job well done so far with the intentionality in 2012 starting at 2% to the current day of 7.5% with a target of 10%. That's to be commended. So thank you for that. You all are doing all the right things with identifying issues. But one thing I would say is with the things that you're looking for, specifically the forgings, the machining, fasteners and travel, and any other thing, is really getting detail on what current opportunities are available. And then reaching out to organizations that have access to the high capacity MBEs that probably could come in and do business with JTech immediately without a lot of extra, because they've been doing businesses with the Michelins and with the BMWs already. You could the Greenville Chamber has an MBA program, MBE, Minority Business Accelerator program that Nika White runs. She has access to a lot of MBEs that are doing business with big corporates. So through the Greenville Chamber, their MBA Minority Business Accelerator program will get you access to it. Of course, we all are resources, and I know corporate has a lot of things, but having something where MBEs can come and pick those that are interested in, that do machining and that's doing it for corporates of your size, can then come and pitch to you, and then it can be actually a two-way. You all can pitch the opportunity, but then they can also pitch their capabilities to you, and kind of matchmaking session that you put on at JTAC, I think will help move the needle. Just my thoughts.
Thank you. Hey, Giancarlo, you make sure you help me with taking notes on these so we can follow up?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And anyway, as the Minority Business Input Chair, any way I can help, any way I can connect, any resources that I can leverage to help you all meet your goal, Giancarlo, I would love to do it.
Thank you, Carlo. Appreciate that.
Paul, this is Dominique, President of the Council. Thank you for your presentation. And I want to echo Carlos' words. I applaud you for where you are and your mission to increase the spend. I'm glad that you said it's just not good enough for you, but you hit on a few points that I think will help you. The fact that in your past, you grew some MBEs to where they were. That is a strategy that, if you're looking at a long-term, what's going to happen over the next 5 years, if you adopt that same strategy to grow some MBEs, in addition to accepting the ones that are already ready, as Carlos said, but let's work together to be very intentional about, driving this growth. And if we work together, if you work with Gregory and Larry, who are corporate service directors, we're doing this with a few other companies, very laser focused. We do this for everyone, but if we want to have a laser focused growth initiative for you over the next couple of years, we can help you with that by identifying some key MBEs that can be developed or those who are already ready. So thank you for what you're doing.
It's a great idea. Thank you, Dominic.
Mm-hmm.
Other questions, comments for Paul? Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not in a location that I can actually show my face right now, so I do apologize. So my company is Outsource Results Inc., and what we really do is we try to figure out ways to help, our clients achieve, their project outcomes. A couple of the things that you've discussed today kind of rings a bell. Again, first of all, echoing what Dominic and Carlos, I think you're one of the few organizations that are very intentional and have actually added some KPIs to your ability to achieve where you're trying to get to with the number of diversity suppliers. So huge kudos to that. But one of the things that we do is when a client of ours has identified, there's a gap that they have, we are really able to kind of take that information and try to, codify it and provide some insight into how they can get from where they are now to where they want to be. Okay, so we can sit down with you. We can identify some KPIs. We can put some markers in place. Definitely working with Dominique and the team, and we can actually help track, how well you're doing in achieving those specific goals, and also what are some of the criteria you need, because you also you indicated as part of your presentation that you had selected some MBs in the past and they were not able to meet those goals. So it might be a good opportunity for us to look at that situation. What are some of the lessons learned there, so that as we start coming up with new suppliers, okay, we can input that information in helping you select the best fit. So that's something we can work with you on, setting up that project and helping you kind of get to where you need to get to. But again, I'll let Carlos and Dominique drive stuff like that. But I just want to put that on the table as stuff that we can definitely support you with.
Very good. Thank you.
Paul, this is Ron Harvey. I'm in the Midlands area. And thank you for your presentation and your transparency. One of the things we always work with is just finding out where organizations are with their diversity supply and how well they're doing or where the gaps are. So thank you for being transparent. I think the information that you shared allows us to co-create whatever's going to work for the MBE in the corporation. And so having those real transparent conversations is of value for all of us here. I think sometimes we feel like we're on opposite sides of the fence and we don't play well together or as transparent as we need to be with each other. So I think, I would love to have a conversation and say, hey, what is it that you're really looking for? So we can train up, because this council is about training MBEs to meet your needs. And I think, what you're seeing or what you're not seeing is important for us to understand, so we can almost mentor and get them ready to do business with your organization. And I think that's a gap for us, is how do we make sure the people we're putting in front of you are ready to do business with you without getting destroyed while doing business with you. And so I think we can get some feedback from you, as well as we can tell you how to find the people you're looking for. So I would love to be able to continue this conversation. I truly, truly love that you were transparent about where you are, because we always ask organizations, and we don't always get organizations to tell us. They won't share where their spin is because it may not be in their favor. And sometimes it is, but we just want to close the gap. So thank you for being transparent.
Thank you, Ron. That's actually the discussion that Jerry and I had beforehand, as I wasn't sure, because the initial presentation my team put together for me didn't have that. It kind of had, we have all the answers. Look at us. Look how good we're doing. Right? And I wasn't comfortable with that. And I figured, me being new and I could be the guy who doesn't know anything and could come in and ask the question. So I thank you for being open to that kind of discussion.
Hey, Paul and John.
Go ahead.
If there's a question, go ahead.
No, Greg, go ahead.
Okay. Wanted to let you all know that we do have a MBE summit coming up November 8th and 9th that I think it would be a perfect opportunity for JTech to participate in. We have a manufacturing panel that we would love to have you all sit in on. We can get you more information about that. But I think this would be helpful in helping you achieve the goals that you just set out. It would be an opportunity to let MBEs particularly know exactly what it is you do and how they can work with you. So I think this could be a great opportunity for you, and we'd love to have you all participate if you're interested.
Thank you for the invite.
Yeah, Gregory, just send me an email.
Sure will.
That's awesome, and I'm glad you mentioned that, Greg, and Ron. I appreciate your comments as well, because that is exactly the conversation that we were having. Is being transparent, and I can say, it's not always that when we invite a speaker, to come and participate in our meetings, that they will reach out and say, okay, I want to have a conversation with you about our presentation, because I want to be transparent. I want to be sincere. And so if nothing else, MBEs, I just want you to know that, from what I've learned from Paul, JTech is really serious about, moving forward and moving the needle. And so I would encourage you, and Paul, I was going to ask, if people want to follow up, because people don't always, want to reach out and speak out on a call like this, but if they want to reach out to you or connect with you or you and John, then what best approach would they need to take?
Just
Well, go ahead, John.
Go ahead, Paul. Well, just send me an email with a PowerPoint or PDF or even just a link to your website. And, like I said, sometimes I think I'm Zool, the gatekeeper, Ghostbusters. But, like we said in our presentation, I kind of vet the suppliers, make sure that they're certified and are working with other companies like JTech. And then I search out the buyer or the buyers that might use you, and then I make that connection. And from then on, it's your responsibility to be either persistent or a pest. And there is a fine line there. But then I'm always there also to help you if you kind of go into a black hole and don't get any response.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So thank you for that, John. So John is our program right now, and he is the gatekeeper. I think I mentioned that in my slides. So yeah, please reach out to him. I think what we're trying to do is make that easier, and we talked about one of the things that John's going to try to help us do is make sure that we have, for example, a website that maybe can be even simpler for the organizations to reach out to us. But yeah, and I guess I recognize that you probably have all types of industries that you support, and you probably recognize that automotive is one of the more difficult industries from an expectations perspective and a performance perspective to perform. So if you can perform in an automotive space, then you can pretty much perform anywhere, has been my experience. So it is a challenge. It is, I don't want to paint it as a pretty picture that we're open our doors and everyone who calls John is something that we're going to be interested in. And performance is it's going to be a big challenge for someone who doesn't have that automotive experience. But those who have automotive experience, our doors are wide open. And those that don't, but feel that they have the capabilities, we'd like to talk.
That's great. Any other questions for Paul and John? If not, again, we really appreciate and thank you for taking time to be with us on today, and we really enjoyed this conversation and your presentation. Look forward to a great relationship moving forward. And as Greg mentioned, the open invitation to the MBE Summit is on the table, and so we look forward to further participation. We're going to move forward on our agenda, and the
thanks, Paul.
Absolutely. The next thing on our agenda is our MBE presentation from Carlo. Carlo, who is our MBE IC chair. Do you have a report for us today, Carlo?
Yes, sir. So good day, everyone. I apologize that we don't have a spotlight today. I'm going to take that on me. Just being kind of inundated with the growth of my business, which is has been good to us. I did not have a MBE presentation today, but I do want to say, and I also was out last time, so I want to double back and thank Chris Banks for Legacy Wealth for his presentation last ring meeting. Also, I want to let you know how powerful this ring meeting is and just your presence and your engagement in it. I was introduced to Chris through this ring meeting, and through that introduction of him engaging, having conversation in this ring meeting, he ultimately signed up to be the MBE presentation last meeting, but also he came out to my business and did a business evaluation, which he did an excellent job. Now we know exactly what, if we were to go to market, we know where we, some negotiating power we would have to try to get a certain number on our business, which is very powerful data that every one of us as MBEs should always begin with the end in mind and always be operating with the end in mind, and having an exit strategy. So he empowered me with that information. Also, he has me getting ready to put in a 401k plan for my associates, a very affordable 401k plan. He presented an option to me that was really not taxing to the company, but it's transformative in that it helped me compete even the more with my competition, my competition across the street, Old Dominion, have all the benefits in the world. As a small business within the last 6 years of developing, we don't tend to have the same type benefits that can compete with the big operations. But with people like Chris that come in, give us advice, not only can he give me evaluation, but now he has me setting up with my 401k plan that's making me more competitive so that we can grow and service more companies. So thank you for that, Chris, but also thank you for your engagement, because it's through this meeting that you receive my business and I cut you a check, but also I received your services that's making me a stronger and better company. That's how this works. And so with that, MBE, if you would reach out to me, we have opening spots for November and December. Someone tried to sign up, I think, for November, and I have to apologize. It has now escaped me as to the conversation we had. If you're on this call, please reach back out and let's get you signed up for November's presentation, December's presentation, and we're even booking into 2022. The 2022 calendar is open for booking. So please utilize it. And just like Chris, you never know who's in here that needs your service at the exact time of this meeting, to where you can actually go ahead and start doing business right away, like Chris and I did. So with that, my email is Carlo, CARLO at WHTrucks.com. Carlo, CARLO at WHTrucks.com. Ron, I got you. Me and you'll be in contact, okay? All right. Anyone else, please reach out.
Awesome. Thank you, Carlo, for your report and your testimony. We need to hear that, and it shows the value of this ring. So walking the walk and talking the talk. So we love to hear it. Next thing on the agenda is a report from the council. Dominique, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you so much. Excellent meeting, excellent turnout. Deals are being made behind the scenes. As Carlos said, there are connections being made, and that's what this ring is all about. It's our small roll up your sleeves working table where we present our opportunities, and this ring is continuing to excel in those areas. And so I love to hear the testimonies as Carlos shared. I know Carlos has a few more that he hasn't shared, but there's growth occurring. So I want to thank you. So with that, we are gearing up for MBE Summit. We are so excited about MBE Summit. For our corporate partners that are on the call, there are opportunities, as Greg just mentioned, for you to sign up for one of our industry panels. We're going to have 5 industries: retail, manufacturing, banking, healthcare, and government. And so if you fall into one of those categories and you want to be on one of our panels, it is going to be, just as you heard this morning, information on the organization, what they're looking for to buy, and how to engage with them. Quite simply, basically 3 to 4 slides, and it's information being disseminated out to our MBEs. You'll have opportunity to ask questions and find out how to connect with all these organizations. So if you have 5 different industries with 3 to 5 people, that could be 15 to 20 plus companies that you hear information about. So again, to our corporate partners, if you're listening, please plan to sign up. We will reach out to you individually. To our MBEs, it's going to be free for you as an MBE, a certified MBE. It's free for you to attend, so there are no excuses. In addition to the core industry panels, we're going to have an MBE to MBE Connect session. We have those the first Friday of every month, but the one for November will be at MBE Summit. We're going to kick off with that. So you have the MBE to MBE Connect, which many of you have been participating in. Then we'll have the core panels, and then we will have a next generation session that Jerry is leading. So Clemson is sponsoring the entire MBE Summit. We're thankful to you, Jerry, for that. And we look forward to having this ring, having the largest MBE participation at MBE Summit. So really excited about that. So with that, I'm going to turn it to Greg for any corporate updates, and then we'll go to Debbie, I think, and Margolette. Okay, Greg?
Thank you, Dominique. So the corporate update that we have for you today is there will be a November 4th event happening with Santee Cooper, who's a utility company within a recent corporate partner we brought on. They are a utility company within South Carolina. They're having their first annual event, supplier diversity event, November the 4th from 10 to 12 p.m. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. Keep looking at our newsletter. Make sure that you're ready to participate in that event. In addition, we'll also have 2 lunch and learns coming up in the month of October. So in this month, we have lunch and learn happening with SCRA, which will happen on October the 19th. And on October the 20th, we'll have Brassfield and Gorey, which is a construction company. So we want to make sure that all the MBEs have an opportunity to participate in these events. Keep looking at the newsletter. You'll get more detail about it coming up, but we want to make sure you know about it so that you go ahead and put it on your calendar. And we're trying to create these opportunities for you to hear directly from our corporate partners, as Dominique just mentioned, who they are, what they do, and how you can work with them. So those are the things we wanted to make sure that we highlighted for you today. And if you have any questions for me, please let me know.
Thank you, Greg. What about the Federal Reserve event?
Federal Reserve event is happening on October the 13th. Thank you, Dominique.
Mm-hmm.
That's going from 8:45 in the morning to about 3:45 in the afternoon. And there are details coming out. There are details about that. We'll make sure we put those in the newsletter as well.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll go to Margolette before Debbie. Margolette?
Good morning, everybody. Don't have any updates on new MBEs in your region for this session. However, we have quite a few coming through in October, so I'm sure I'll have an update for you for October. Do want to mention I did send out to all construction MBEs on yesterday information about the Project One Casino. They are having a meeting on Thursday. If you're on the call and you are in the construction field, please reach out to me to make sure that I send you the information for that meeting. And that's all I have.
Sunoco class?
Okay, if you have not attended the Sunoco leadership class, we are still accepting applications. Again, if you would like to attend, please reach out to me so that we can send you that information.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Margolette. Sunoco starts in November, folks.
Yeah.
All right, Debbie, you're up.
All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Paul, for that great presentation. I think everybody on the team is so supportive about the newsletter. So please make sure that you are reading the newsletter. It comes out every Monday morning. We went from 3 times a week to just once a week, and it's chock full of all of the information and the dates that have been shared, because I saw some of y'all writing feverishly, right? So just check the newsletter and the calendar on our website so that you can stay abreast of all of these opportunities. Want to make sure that we talk about the upcoming MBEIC learning series. And is Ron still on the line? Can you give us just a little taste of what we might be expecting with this upcoming series? And the next one is scheduled for the 22nd of this month. And it is at noon. Ron, you still on? All right, he might have dropped off, but the last time that we had this, it was in April, and they went over RFPs, and now this one is going to be talking about capabilities. So it's a joint session. Again, Ron Harvey and Dr. Kinston Griffin are putting this one on the 22nd. So again, just make sure that you are checking our calendar. Other ongoing events are the MBE to MBE Connect. We had one on Friday, and it's every first Friday other than the month of November because that is part of MBE Summit. But that's an opportunity for MBEs to connect with one another, learn about the opportunities, and learn how to grow and scale your business. So I love hearing these success stories, these connections. I always say that, you know, magic happens in the ring meeting. So Carlo and Chris, congratulations on that. And I'd like to hear some more of that going on. So thank you so much. I'll kick it back to you, Dominique.
All right, thank you. Let me make sure. Satrina, do you have anything?
The only thing I have, the only update is I'd like to invite everyone to attend the Metro Liner Ring meeting, which will be October the 21st. It begins at 8:30 in the morning, and I'll put the link in the chat.
Excellent, thank you. And Larry, do you have anything you want to share?
This time, I think Greg kind of passed everything. I'm kind of driving right now, but
Okay.
just want to thank everyone for continued support, and let's just keep doing it. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Back to you, Jerry. That's our update. Oh, a national conference is coming up next week. And so if you are an MBE, you should have signed up for the session that they're going to have for just MBEs to kick off the national event. And that was in last week's newsletter. It's a free event and it's going to be powerful. So I encourage every MBE, actually everybody on the call, to sign up for the event that is occurring to kick off the national conference designed just for MBEs. Okay. Any questions, let us know. All right, Jerry, back to you.
All right. Thank you, Dominique, and the entire team for the great work that you do. And again, in support of both the MBEs and us corporate partners. And so we are so thankful for everything that you do. Really looking forward and very excited about the MBE Summit that's coming up. As you all know, it's virtual. I think we've been talking, but we hadn't actually said virtual, but just letting everybody know that it will be virtual. But again, we're in the planning process, really excited about the way things are shaping up, and certainly want our ring to have the most MBEs this year. And Dominique, what are we giving out if we have the most MBEs? I mean, is there anything in particular we need to look forward to?
I did not even think about that.
Didn't want to put you on the spot, but just want to percentage.
You're going to get bragging rights. How about that? We'll start there. I know this ring likes bragging rights. We'll start with the bragging rights.
All right. We'll start there.
All right.
Well, again, looks like we may have a little time. Is there any burning announcements that anyone has that they want to share for the good of the group?
Yes, there is one. Wasn't sure if anybody got it in the newsletter. I know a lot has been going on, but make sure y'all mark the date. October 19th is my birthday. So whatever gifts or anything y'all want to send, address is 101 North Tryon, Suite 112, Charlotte, North Carolina, 28246. You don't have to put a lot of thought into it, but anything and all gifts are definitely welcome. So I look forward to it. That is all.
You're always so subtle, Christopher. So subtle.
Did I miss that in the newsletter?
That's the reason why I'm making the announcement. You got less than 2 weeks.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Anyone else? Anyone else? Well, again.
Any success stories anybody wants to share, Jerry?
Absolutely. Any stories?
I have a small one. Well, first of all, Christopher, I could just tag onto that and I could say you could send them all to me and, I'll send them desserts for your birthday. So if they want to buy desserts, we can tag team that way and write it down in MBE spend. James Fobb just recently placed an order with me. So that was really exciting. We've gotten to know each other over the ring meetings for the last few months. And so I shipped some lemon bars, Dominique, and peanut butter explosion bars down to him in Virginia. So that was exciting. And thank you, James, if he's still on the call.
Yes, this is Christopher Jackson with Smart Technology. I guess it would be I don't know what kind of story it is, but I've signed several NDAs with companies. And I'm actually going through a process of doing some quoting for several major companies. So that's a big thing for smart technology right now. Caterpillar being one of them. And two other big companies that I can't really talk about right now, but and I'm also trying, well, not trying, but we're in negotiation of doing a partnership with another company that's a pretty big manufacturing company. And so I have a follow-up meeting tomorrow to kind of button that deal up. So we're pretty excited over here in smart technology, and it's because of the MBE that I made the connections through being on the calls and everything like that. So I can say it definitely working. We're excited. You got to be able to bid to win. So we're bidding.
Congratulations.
That's awesome.
Well, this is, go ahead. I think I heard someone else say something, but I do have a success story as well.
Go ahead, share, Ruby.
Okay, great. I'm also part of an organization called SCORE. I think most of us on this is familiar with them. And I participated in a grant challenge, and I actually won with my presentation one of the prizes from participating through the SCORE grant program. And I won for a grant. So I thought that was great, and it was for the MBEs.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Anyone else? I love it.
Yes. Good afternoon. This is James Fobbs with Fobbs Quality Signs. We're about to get on the road, and I'm calling it a success story because I know the impact we're going to make. We're here on Virginia on Friday. We have a show with Lewis Botanical Gardens. We're following next Wednesday. We're going to Mega, Maryland to do a vendor show. And then we're coming down there to see Dominique Milton in the North Charleston Expo. So we are calling it victory already before we even get on the road. We believe in getting out and getting exposure there. And so as we go, all of us go. So I tell them how a great organization we're a part of, and see if we can find some people along the way as we travel.
Absolutely. And James, be sure to follow up with us and let us know how successful you were on your tour and the benefits that you accrued from it. So we look forward to hearing from you. Anyone else?
Yes.
I just have something small. Well, it's not small. I think it's pretty cool. It's not sealed, not all signed, sealed, and delivered, but I've been using Larry to do warm introductions for me, and I've done it. I think he's probably done, oh my goodness, probably like 20. I've lost count. I have a list. And the exciting thing about it, especially being a newer MBE, is I'm getting responses from the organizations, because if they're not interested in the product or service you have, then you don't always hear anything back as a result of the warm intro. But I'm hearing back from them and getting either the Zoom meeting or additional information, or being forwarded on. My capability statement is being forwarded on to the correct person. So it's I'm going to be like James. I'm going to speak it into existence. It's all churning in the background, and it just takes one yes. I'd like more than one yes, but starting out with one big one, that's definitely getting ready to happen, because I'm putting in all the groundwork. My capability statement is rock solid, and reputation, all the pieces are in place. So it's getting ready to happen very soon. So I've been very excited about that positive response. And thank you, Larry, for sending out those warm intros so quickly. You're awesome.
You're welcome. Thank you as well.
That's great. That's great news. Anyone else?
Jerry,
This is.
Oh, no, go ahead, Barry.
Hey, this is Barry. I haven't seen y'all's faces in forever, so it's nice. Hi, Dominique. Been a little busy in healthcare the last 20 months or so. It's an ongoing success story. I hope to have some even better news, but we do have a minority business that supplies scrubs. I believe, Marjolette, you'll have to keep me honest here. I believe he is in the process. It's Just Cause Scrubs. I believe he's in the process of getting certified.
Yes, he-
Perfect. And we forecasted a shortage in our scrubs about a month ago from our contracted supplier, and Scott at Just Cause. He happens to be a physician, but this is a separate business, fully vetted by Prisma Health. 50% of his proceeds go to the charity of the purchaser's choice. And Scott and I coordinated to head that shortage off, and he was able to come through big time for us by sourcing some very much needed scrubs for our clinical team at the 11th hour. And I'm hoping to use that as leverage to bring him up to the C-suite and say, okay, this is a perfect example of why small and minority businesses, veteran-owned, women-owned businesses, they hustle so hard. And this is a perfect example of why the big guys couldn't provide what we needed. And what's crazy is the scrubs he got us were actually from the big guys. It was all about relationships. And the people that aren't in supplier diversity, they said, well, how is he able to get it and we can't? And I just laughed. I said, it's relationship management. It's all about relationships. He knows the CEO. He's had lunch with them. He's hustled. And so the supplies we couldn't get, he got for us from the exact same supplier. And that speaks volumes. And I try and preach that when I'm talking to the C-suite. We all know in the big corporations, there's a big buy-in, and until it's part of their goals, if it's just my goal, I'm one person, so I keep trying to move that needle, but they need to understand that value of, you can't always put it in a spreadsheet. It's about relationships. And so I'm working on setting up a meeting for him. He's a friend as well, so we meet for coffee, and I'm the one that advised him to get certified. And so he picks my brain. So I am trying to get him in touch with my vice president of supply chain to see if we can carve out a chunk of business for him. He can guarantee no downtime. So I'm pushing real hard, but at least he's getting certified, and he helped us out in a real pinch.
Awesome. Thank you, Barry. And it's good to hear from you and see you again. It's been a while, but yeah.
No, sorry, guys.
Busy. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And is Mia on the call? I know Mia had, been out of our ring for a while, and now she's back with our Upstate ring with a floor. Is she on the call? If not, I just want to acknowledge that.
You do have a floor representative on the call. I don't know that me is on, but we're excited to have her coming back.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anything else? We're running up on our time limit, so we've got a couple of minutes left. I did want to announce our next ring meeting coming up in November, and I think Greenville Tech is our corporate sponsor. So I know Crystal is on the call. I know they're excited about taking that responsibility on, and we're looking forward to hearing from Greenville Tech at our next meeting. Anything else?
The Toyota Opportunity Exchange is tomorrow. It won't be virtual like BMW's, or it won't be in person like BMW's, but it's virtual this year. Hopefully they'll be in person next year.
Great. Thank you, John. Anything else?
Jared, I got to give credit what credit's due real quick. So as Dominique said, I got a couple of success things going on as well. So a while back, a couple rings back, we had Smithfield present. And I was already doing business with Smithfield, but since that meeting, our business has increased with Smithfield. And so now we actually is over double what we were doing with Smithfield. So, and not only that, but then now I am bidding on ATD, which is a new member to the to CVMSDC, and we are now have been given put in touch with them through people on this council, and it's paying off to where we're in the bidding process. And whether we win a bid or not, just building those relationships, everything. I know we're going to do business, whether it be this RFP or the next. We eventually will do business because they seem to be very intentional about wanting to grow their minority suppliers. So with that, I got to give credit real quick where credit's due. Thank you all on the ring for your support, and anything I can do to support you all, please let me know.
Great. That's awesome news. And I was looking down the list. I know Michelle was on the call. She may have left, but Michelle was the person that brought Smithfield to the table for our ring meeting. So I want to give her a shout out to Michelle as well. Anything else? We're at 12 o'clock, so our time is up. Wonderful meeting. Look forward to seeing everybody in November and certainly at the MBE Summit. So information will be going out. Please go ahead and register. Let's get ready. We're going to make it the best MBE Summit that we've ever had. So look forward to seeing everybody going forward. Have a great day and enjoy the meeting. Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you. Have a great one.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Have a great day.
Bye.